Okay, this is our Carbon Canyon loop that we did this weekend, and this is just a section of it. We're going to be getting into some little bit of teamwork, kind of mini paceline. We're only going to be doing two-man pulls here. Up front, you have Eric and Susie Losick, or Losick. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce their last name. Right in front of me, that's Ellen, my wife Ellen, in the PAA kit. And I'm on the camera for this first half of the video, and I'm Anthony. So what we'll be getting into is just a really pretty fast-paced train that we're going to be doing with Eric and I taking turns pulling at the front. The two ladies decided not to pull today, and it's not that they can't. They're both strong and capable of pulling. It's just hot and they didn't feel like doing the effort today, so they just sat in. And I want to point out just how we try to do this safely. I know it's public road, so there is some risk involved, and just the difference of energy used and how to keep momentum. So yeah, so I hope you enjoy the video. It's pretty short, and then hope comment and if we can do it better, or if you have any tips or anything to add. Here's just an explanation of what we need to do to keep it safe.
So through here, Eric? Yeah, just leave a lot of room on the right so we can rotate through to the right. Got it.
So it's not like Eric needs any instruction or anything like that, but they've never done this road, so I know where the hazards are at, where the potholes are at, things like that. So what we do is we're going to keep our train about where I'm at now, about 3 feet into the lane. That may be a little, may feel a little selfish because cars would have to go around us, but anytime the pace is this fast, it's slightly downhill. So anytime it's really fast like this, you don't want someone that just pulled off the front to swing into the lane where cars might hit them. So what we do is we leave space on the right side of the road, and we try to protect ourselves. So the train will stay to the left, we'll rotate over to the right, and then we can shield our riders, and we have limited space of moving by instead of someone swinging out 6 to 8, 10 feet into the lane there and possibly getting hit by a car that's passing us with a little more closing speed. So this first part of this segment is fairly slow. 26 miles per hour is not exactly slow, but compared to the 10 miles per hour more that we're going to be doing, I think we reached 38 or 39, I can't remember. But yeah, it's actually kind of a false front. It says 1% right here, and it may be at this point, but under the bridge here, it's actually uphill. No matter what the percentage says or gradient says, it's actually uphill right here, like a little false flat, and then it starts going downhill, and it gets from anywhere from mainly it's 1% most of the way, but sometimes we get 2 and touch 3 for just a second, and it's back to 1% or flat most of the way there. Eric's really strong. He says he's more of a time trial profile, so he's going to do majority of the work. In a second here, I'm going to go by him just to get our speed started. Just again, he's not familiar with the road, so he doesn't know what pace to hold throughout the duration of it. But normally we're over 30. I think overall we averaged about 30. I think I averaged mid 29s. I stopped before the segment was over and didn't realize that. So here I'm going to go by and just pick the pace up a little bit, get us up to 34, 35 miles per hour, and then Eric will come back by in a second and carry that momentum on, and then I'll give him a few breaks here and there. So you can see there the part of the lane that we're using and the part of the lane that we're keeping clear. As we turn the corner up here, there's going to be some pretty good potholes. For those of you new to riding or new to performance riding, if you look at Eric, he has a beautiful profile here as far as his body position. Look at his back is flat, has his head down, elbows bent, and just a steady pace, not too much movement. Everybody has a slightly different riding style, and if you look at my cadence is down right now, but normally our cadence is going to be in the hundreds, 100 to 110 RPM. So when you're on the front, when you're on the back, you can vary it. So as you can see, I come up now, my cadence rolls up to 103, and just good acceleration and how to keep momentum, especially in the wind. Pushing the wind is not it's going to tax you a lot if you push a really big gear at a slow cadence. And each pull is going to be, for me, I'm only pulling like 5 to 10 seconds, just giving Eric a little breather. This is a couple mile stretch that we do this for. So. But if you notice too, when I go by or when Eric goes by, we're not trying to drop each other. We're not trying to drop the girls behind us. We're just trying to get smooth acceleration, hold the pace, and either with the slight acceleration from where we're at, or we just continue to hold that same pace. And that's how you end up making the entire segment faster. Often people have ego issues and they're trying to drop everyone, trying to make everyone hurt behind them, but the entire group just breaks up and you go slower. And what some people don't understand is I'm getting a draft break here being behind Eric, but Eric's also getting a draft break with me being behind him on downforce. So if he was riding solo, he'd actually be going a little slower. And with 2 riders, 3 riders, 4 riders, even the person on the front is getting a slight break in the draft, just not from headwind, but from the wraparound and the downforce of wind. I go by again here, flick a little elbow, give Eric a little 4 or 5 second breather. Here he comes by again. Now if you can see Eric starting to dip his head, that means the fatigue is starting to set in. On our pulls, we're hitting about 300 to 500 watts. So that can tax you. Even strong riders, those are like a little 30 for 30 interval section of 500 plus watts. So Eric flips his elbow. I come by again. And I might do a little bit longer pull here because, like I said, we're starting to get taxed, and I underestimated the distance to the end. There's a light coming up, and I think I thought it was closer. So, and I know Eric doesn't know the segment, so he was originally going to give me a lead out, and then I thought, we're pretty much to the end, so I thought I'd give him a little lead here, but then it turns out it's way longer than I thought it was. And my heart rate's at 190 now, so yeah, I was a little popped here, so I tried to tell him to go ahead. But I thought the girls were dropped at this point, and then I see Susie come by me, and then Ellen comes by. So I'm like, okay, well, I can get a little breather, being that they're here. So I jump back on. Then I'm going to try to accelerate past and give Eric a little lead out since the light is coming up now. The only problem is the segment doesn't end at the first light. It ends at the second light, and I thought it was the first light, so I just stopped after the first light. So here's just a little acceleration to give Eric a little lead out here. And I'm pretty much gassed. And here comes the light, so I thought that was the end of the segment, but it actually rolls on to the next segment. So Eric launches his sprint. Alright, so here's basically the same segment from Ellen's point of view. Ellen was the caboose in this little activity here, and again, we're not actually training or anything here, we're just having fun. This is just our fun Sunday ride, Carbon Canyon loop that we do, and this is just a really fun fast section here. We go early in the morning so there's less traffic. If you go later in the day, there's going to be a lot of cars on this street, so just be cautious of that. This is Brea Canyon Road, from Diamond Bar to almost to Lambert. It's really to State College, through the Brea Fullerton area. Starting off in, I think, San Dimas or Diamond Bar, I can't remember which. Diamond Bar, I believe. So one thing to notice here, with Ellen, like, she's going to be doing a lot less watts than what we were doing. Most of the time she's going to be under 200 watts. She's definitely getting, I don't know if, actually I think Susie's getting the biggest draft benefit here. Again, because Ellen does have some wraparound and downforce on her. Susie will have the biggest benefit just because she's drafting 2 people in front of her, and then she has Ellen behind her also to take a little bit of the downforce off. So yeah, I'm gonna just let this play. You've already seen it from the from the front view, so just check it out from the back. Also, just a quick thing to point out, when I touched on body position, now Eric had the low profile, really flat back. You can see Susie sitting up a little bit, and she can afford to do that because she has the wind protection from me and Eric in the front. And also, if you notice, I'm riding a little offset of Eric, and that's because one, I don't want to get sucked into the back of his back wheel. We are going pretty high speed, and you definitely need to be cautious of any type of cross wheeling, things like that. So I have to step out into the wind sometimes just to slow myself down. Also, I like to see when we're going at high speeds, I like to see around the rider in front of me, see if there's any potholes, any hazards, things like that, instead of just relying on someone to point it out. Not to mention, when you're going this fast, it's not always safe to point out a hazard. Everyone likes to take their hands off the bars and point at pebbles on the ground, when sometimes it's more important to just control your bike, keep your hands on the bars, and yeah, you can shout it out. People may not hear it at this speed, but honestly, when you're going this fast, everyone is kind of on their own, and you need to protect your front wheel, and you need to position yourself in a way that you can see around the riders in front of you. As you can see from the back, it's a little different story. They're freewheeling a lot back here. And again, their watts are almost always, less than 300, but often less than 200 until a little gap opens up. And that's one of the things Susie did a good job of doing, is because only the two, Eric and I, are rotating up front. When only two people are rotating, it's very easy to have a gap open up, and then the rest of the train won't be able to close that gap if it opens. But Susie did a good job of anticipating our switch and doing a little acceleration to make sure the gap doesn't open up too big. It's a very hard effort if that gap opens up, and it'll be hard for Susie and Ellen to close that gap if they're not working together. Also, if you can see from all the patchwork on the concrete here, at certain times of the year, this road is filled with large potholes. So just be cautious of that if you're ever trying to do this loop, the Carbon Canyon loop, or going through Brea Canyon. Today they were pretty much filled with some patches or asphalt or whatever it is that they fill it with, but it still was a pretty bumpy ride. There just weren't big holes. It'd be awesome to have a team of people come through here and see how fast we can do this segment. I think Eric passed the line first, or the end of the segment first, at 6 minutes and maybe 50 seconds or so. Can't remember. I ended up stopping too early. It was at the second light, not the first light, so I was at like 7:10 or so. But yeah, it'd be fun to see what type of speed you can carry and how fast you can run through this segment. So I pulled to the right here. I didn't know the women were still there. And then, oh, they are. So I say, okay, well, let me get a little breather, and I jump on the back of them. I was pretty gassed by then anyway. So I just take a couple second breather, and then I'll accelerate by to try to get back up there to give Eric a short lead out. That's pretty much all she wrote. Really fun segment. It's one of our favorite loops. This is just a little portion of the loop. Overall, the loop that we do is a 50-mile loop with about 3,800 feet of climbing, and it's just rolling hills, fast sections, and really steep climbs. So thanks for watching.